Let me tell you about one of the most incredible stories in all of sports. It's about a footballer who didn't just have a long career, he completely shattered our idea of what that even means. We're talking about a living legend who is still playing professionally in his late 50s. This is the story of King Kazu.
You know how it is with top athletes. The career is intense, it's brutal on the body, and it's almost always short. In pro football, once you hit your mid-30s, the clock is seriously ticking. You're a veteran, and retirement is right around the corner. That's just the way it works. But Kazuyoshi Miura, yeah, he's not playing by those rules. He's 59, not retired, not a coach. He is an active professional footballer. It's wild.
So you've got to be asking, right? How on earth is this even possible? To really get the answer, we have to go all the way back to the beginning, to a decision he made that was just as unconventional as his career is today.
Okay, so our story doesn't start in some fancy Japanese pro league. Nope, it all starts with a teenager, a massive dream, and a journey that's almost hard to believe. I mean, really let that sink in for a second. At just 15, he drops out of school and moves halfway across the world to Brazil, the absolute heartland of football. He didn't have a contract waiting, he didn't have a team lined up, he went completely on his own, fueled by nothing but pure ambition.
And you know what? The gamble absolutely paid off. After 4 years of grinding, he signed his first professional contract with the legendary club Santos. So you can see from this timeline, by the time he came back to Japan in 1990, he wasn't some rookie. He was a star who'd been forged in like the toughest football furnace on the planet.
And his timing for returning to Japan? Man, it was perfect. The country was just about to launch its very first professional football league, the J-League, and they were desperate for a hero. And Kazu, he was ready to be that hero.
And oh boy, did he deliver. He didn't just meet expectations, he completely blew them out of the water. Right away, he led his club to 4 straight league titles and was crowned the very first J-League MVP. For the national team, his record was just insane. 55 goals, making him the second highest scorer in the country's entire history. He wasn't just a player, he was the face of Japanese football.
And this picture really gives you a sense of his status on the world stage. That's him with the Italian legend Roberto Baggio. See, this shows he wasn't just a local hero. King Kazu was right up there with the biggest names in the game during that whole era.
But you know, his journey wasn't all just trophies and glory. The next part of his story saw him pushing boundaries, taking on new challenges, and, well, facing one of the biggest heartbreaks of his entire career.
He was a legit trailblazer. In 1994, he became the very first East Asian player to compete in Italy's top league, Serie A, which at the time was pretty much the best league in the world. He later had another go at it in Europe with Dinamo Zagreb, constantly pushing to test himself against the absolute best. Okay, and this is where the drama really hits. He was the hero of the qualification campaign, the man who scored the goals that sent Japan to its first ever World Cup. And then, in a move that absolutely stunned the entire nation, he was cut from the final squad. Can you imagine? A devastating blow for the country's biggest star.
Now, for a lot of players, a setback like that could be the end of your peak right there. But not for Kazu. For him, it was just another chapter, and it led right into the most unbelievable phase of his career, becoming the ageless wonder.
Just look at this. This table shows the sheer scale of his career. It's mind-boggling. He has played professionally in 5 different decades: the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s, the 2010s, and yep, now the 2020s. From Santos in Brazil to Yokohama in Japan, and check out that last entry, all the way in Portugal with Oliveirense. It's just, there's no precedent for this. None.
So, fast forward to 2017. He's already well past 50, and he starts making some serious history. On March 5th, he broke a record that has stood for 52 years.
At the age of 50 years and 7 days old, he stepped out onto the pitch.
And in that moment, he officially surpassed the legendary Sir Stanley Matthews to become the oldest professional player ever. Just incredible.
But wait, he wasn't just there to make a cameo. Unbelievably, just 1 week after that,
at 50 years and 14 days,
he scored a goal. He actually scored. He became the oldest goal scorer in the history of professional football, deciding games at an age when his peers had been retired for like 15 years.
So this isn't just about being the oldest to play or score. It's official.
He holds the world record for the longest professional football career in the history of the sport, period.
And the crazy part? The story isn't even over. This isn't some look back at a past career. He is still a professional footballer. Today, at 59 years old, he's playing for Fukushima United on loan from Yokohama FC. The journey just keeps on going.
And look, he's not some kind of novelty act they bring on for the last 5 minutes. No way. He's a pro, a teammate, a living legend who's still in the thick of it, surrounded by players who probably had posters of him on their walls when they were kids.
So, what drives a man to keep playing into his late 50s? Honestly, for King Kazu, all those records, the decades of history, they're just a side effect of something much simpler. His whole career has been built on one thing, a pure, unfiltered love for the game. It really makes you wonder, right? What could any of us achieve if we just refuse to accept the limits everyone else takes for granted? For King Kazu, it seems the answer is, well, just about anything.